Well, hey, and welcome to the Becoming Better podcast. My name's Nate, and I'm so glad you're here. On today's episode, Jason, Josh, and I sit down and we discuss last Sunday's message. If you haven't listened to last Sunday's message, I want to encourage you to stop here and give that a listen, as that will help make this conversation make more sense to you. Well, without further ado, we hope you enjoy this conversation. How's it going, guys?
Happy Monday, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
How are you guys? You good?
I'm still stuffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cold, man. Just wiping people out.
I was in my last meeting and hawked up a big old giant green something and showed it to Josh, and he was not as appreciative as one would expect.
This is nasty.
It makes sense.
Nasty.
Yep. So, hey, Olympics is going on right now. Have you guys been watching?
For sure.
Yeah.
I watched one last night after the Super Bowl. I watched the downhill thing. That was it.
Did you see, what's her name? Lindsay?
No,
Lindsey Vonn.
No, I walked out of the room on accident. Man, that time. I
Just gnarly. 13 seconds in, just snaps her leg.
So happens you don't have an ACL.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that was it. She literally hit the gate with her upper body while she was in the air. Like it was nuts.
Yeah.
Not good.
I'm sure though, like her balance and coordinate, all that was impacted because of her ACL injury.
Yeah.
She probably the balance and the low, wasn't able to do what she normally does.
Yeah.
They're moving fast. I'll give it to them.
They are.
Like 80 miles an hour. Some of them. They're nuts.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
But U.S. needs to step it up. We're in third place right now. So we only got
As
2
far
gold. Yeah. As far as the medal standing, Norway is killing it.
I did find myself yelling at the curling people. Like, get it together. Like I know anything about curling. That's what we do though.
Yeah, exactly. So is there a sport that you're excited about in this Olympic season or no?
No. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, man, I don't watch any. None of these sports do I participate in.
I was gonna say
or watch.
I was gonna say Josh and Snow don't really mix, so I can't see him excited.
Just say it, Josh. Just say it.
All white people.
Exactly. There it is. There it is. That's what I was waiting.
Again, it's just Nate. Are you doing any sports growing up?
No,
hockey would be the only one that's even close.
It was interesting watching watching the Parade of Nations, right? It's the Parade of Nations. And there's not a lot of African nations on the list of people. Like
there's none.
No, there's the Jamaican bobsled team. They're doing their thing.
They're the outlier.
They are for sure the outlier.
They are the outlier. Yes. You can't practice. I mean, there's not like
there's like one Arab guy doing one weird sport, and like it was, just these nations. There's just not. But there was
there is none of the winter sports.
Yeah.
We'll call them sports.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? He just did air quotes around sports, everyone. Like downhill skiing is...
It's fine. It's I don't know, 70 miles. But there's just none of those I've ever done.
Yeah.
Outside of like tubing, getting on an inner tube and flying down the mountain. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
Which I feel like that for the figure skating. I'm like, this one doesn't really make sense to me. So the judging and just...
It's all
how do you compete?
Yeah, it's like gymnastics. It's all biased. It feels like in ways subjective. There you go. Yeah, not biased.
I have. That is one of my things. I'm always like, they ought to be objective sports.
Yeah,
like you make the goal or you don't make the goal. You do the turn or you don't make the turn.
You made the time. And your time was this. This time was this.
Yep.
I clearly knew who the winner was.
Yep.
I could watch 3 figure skatings and go, they all looked amazing.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curling was on, and I'm like, it's fine, but they're like,
curling is That's objective, though.
Yeah.
I know I'm not saying it is, but I've never thought, hey, you want to go curl? So again, just not any sports that I don't ski. I don't play hockey. Again, hockey is legit. I get it. They're like fighting and beating each other. I'm in. So that's fine. But I have never played.
I'd like to see you on skates, though.
Dude, I was a rollerblading beast back in the day, dog. Bro, don't let this look. Offensive lineman.
Is there any proof?
Offensive lineman
right now. I want to see.
Offensive lineman had great like feet. That's the point of like offensive line generally, right? You got to have really good feet, good footwork. So, most of my birthday parties were at skating rinks growing up.
Oh,
great!
I had the cool blades, bro.
Yeah.
The ones with all the different colors, the straps with the different colors. Oh yeah, dude. I'm trying to tell you.
You're flexing on them.
Oh, you don't even know, y'all. So yeah. So, but I know yours again. Jason's a skier.
I do enjoy skiing.
I'm just not a skier.
Yeah.
I'm just not it's not what I do.
Yeah.
So I just.
But LA 28.
I'm in, bro. Oh, they got flag football. Yep. I'm in. So I those are generally all the sports that I've done in my life.
Yeah.
At least have participated.
The bobsleds.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not saying it's not cool.
No. I'm watching the luge.
Yeah.
Like, those people are crazy too.
Dude. I know. It's speed skating. Like all that. I'm not saying but I've never speed skated.
Yeah.
Right. I have rode a bike.
Yeah.
So I could at least get down with cycling in the summer.
Yeah.
I
did make
not a winter sport guy.
My youngest, in preparation for the Olympics. There's a new, I think it was a Netflix documentary that came out on the Miracle on Ice. The
80s USA team with Kurt Russell.
Not with Kurt Russell,
that was the movie. Yes.
Yes. It was. What year was it? Yeah, I guess it was 80.
It was 80s when we were in the Cold War with the Russians.
We were definitely in the Cold War, and so I made my kid watch it in a town. This was the part that just blew me away.
Was it 80 and 8? Figure that.
It was 80.
It was 1980.
Boom.
Yeah, it was 80. They played those Olympics in like Podunk, New York. Like, what was the name of that town? I can't even think of it.
Lake Placid.
Lake Placid, New York. It's literally a village of 2,200 people. 2,200 people. Like, they are hosting the Winter Olympic Games in Lake Placid. It's in Nowheresville, New York. Like, it's pretty crazy. Not like anywhere near New York City, nowhere near Syracuse. It's like in this tiny little village. It's pretty crazy. I was like, that.
Big hockey fans.
I guess so.
They are now.
Yeah, for sure.
Team USA fans, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Again, we don't even win this. This is not our sport.
No.
That's why when you're even talking about the goal count, like we're not gonna win these games.
We do. Here's the reason why.
This is not what we do. We do have more people.
That's right. Because we have 300 or 240 athletes, and most other countries got 12. But you want to talk about grueling is the cross country ski. Like, those people are nuts. I don't know if you've ever done any skiing whatsoever, but even just going from a flat spot, if you're skiing, downhill skiing, and you get to the bottom of a run and you got to get over to a lift, and it's just flat, and it's just such a pain just to get over there. These guys are going straight uphill. Like, I saw a what do they call it? Triathlon? No, triathlon.
They have the one that shoots the gun too.
Oh, those are biathletes.
Yeah, those are fun.
But essentially, it was like a marathon on
skis,
and they're going uphill half the time. I'm like, those people are nuts.
Again, I'm not saying they're not athletic. I'm not saying they're not in incredible physical.
They're white. We heard you.
Generally speaking, that is the case. There's not a lot.
Norway and Sweden and Finland are killing it.
Canada,
yes,
Canada,
yeah.
Like it's fine. And if it's on, I may pop it, but I'm not like the summertime. I'm like recording. I'm like, I got to be in the house when they run that 4x100. I got to be there. Like, let's go. I got the 100. I got to be the dash. I'm in. I mean, one shot put and high jump. I just don't understand some of these sports in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah,
I'm in.
So,
I'm watching it.
perfect.
Of course you are.
So we'll keep the medal count.
The medal count.
I'll keep you informed on the medal count. Yep. So currently we're at 2.
That's so shameful. And it was one that downhill skier. She won it. Bonnie or whatever her name was.
Breezy.
Breezy's way
Bonnie?
off.
What are we doing?
Breezy, my bad.
Don't be. Put some respect on the name.
My bad. It's my fault. My bad. I think. I'm sorry. She's my apologies.
Breezy.
Breezy.
I'm sure she's probably listening to the podcast right now.
She is. She is from like Vail, Colorado, I think.
Yeah. So funny story before we jump in. I was with Chase, our resident, and my wife, and we were just hanging out. And Chase, we got on the topic of podcasts, and he was telling me some of his favorite podcasts that he listens to. And he said like, this one I listened to got nominated for great podcast. And I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, I don't think like that's a legit like nomination. And he's like, why? I was like, because we weren't nominated. And
For
like,
sure.
We're one of the best podcasts out there.
Yeah. Just ask us.
Yeah. So he kind of gave me a look like, are you being serious? And I was like, no, I'm not being serious.
I thought you were going to say like, he didn't know we had a podcast.
He probably did.
He probably didn't. Yeah. So
he was like, they do a podcast?
Yeah.
Every Monday I just see 3 guys disappear.
Yep. Never know where they are.
What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing down there.
So I told him, I was like, it's not a legit because we didn't get nominated.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we're going to throw that out, get us nominated. And
we don't need the recognition. Don't nominate us. We actually
I do want to know who the podcast was that he listened to that was the best podcast or whatever. I did hear Joe Rogan talk about that for just a moment. I heard a little clip. He said he did not win best podcast. And
it's too long. I know ours are long. It's too long. It's too long.
He said, he goes,
it's too long.
There's a reason I didn't get best podcast is because they called me and they asked me, and you got to pay like $200 to be nominated.
Yep.
And he's like, I ain't paying you $200. I already know I'm the best.
It feels like a scam.
It does, right?
That's a scam.
And so he was like,
so this person, you're already going to tell me if they won, that's a chump. I can't get down with that. They paid $200 to buy the reward.
Yep.
Well, they buy to get nominated.
Yeah. Yep. So
they paid for their nomination.
But he said Will and Rusty's Playdate is the podcast he listens to.
I don't even know what that's about. Sounds bad.
It does sound bad.
It sounds really bad. Nate, what's the like overview real quick? Can you like synopsis that thing?
So they are an improv. Rusty and Will change the world one episode at a time through groundbreaking innovation and mind-altering quips and whims. So
it does sound like us. That sounds like with Bible. I think if we just steal that and just put with Bible on it, then that's totally us.
Let's link to their podcast and our podcast, and then maybe they'll do it back.
Yeah.
Actually, man, we don't want.
We're not out here trying.
I don't want more people yelling at us. It feels like we're opening ourselves up for just a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
I already get myself in trouble.
I know. Could you imagine
if we had 10,000 people who were critiquing this thing?
Whoa.
Our emails would just be, they're already obliterated, but they would just be, Google would be like, you're done.
Yeah. But again, like when we did this, right, the whole purpose is just for like internally for our church to help continue the conversation around Sunday morning and to help answer questions, which is why we say every week in the opening, hey, if you haven't listened to this week's message, this is not going to make any sense.
Yep.
You should stop, go listen to the message, and then we'll jump in, right?
Yeah. So
like there's a reason. And it wasn't ever to like get our name out there, but it is. And so it is just something internally for Quad City people. Yeah. It would not make any sense, which is why we do this banter, is for the rest of the world. Like they wouldn't, I mean, maybe it's helpful to know us. I don't know. But, our church people have said it's been really helpful. So it's one of those.
I had somebody talk to me this week about how amazing it was picturing you selling your sugar dope on the playground out of your baggies.
Baby.
They were really.
I developed some skills. I did.
That are good for the yard. I know how to get things.
Listen, if the stocks just crash, Josh is gonna be hustling.
Hey. Yep.
All right, let's dive in. So this last week we were in week 11. We're in chapter 3, and I love how you set it up, Jason. And my favorite part was the 11, and I love that you caught it. The kids have been making this whole 6-7.
Oh yeah,
and you said 6-7.
Yeah,
and you caught it, and you're like, "Yep."
Oh, it's because one of our pastor's kids was sitting 6 rows in, and he's like, "Oh, 6," did the hand thing. Just, 6, and I don't even remember what the thing was. What did I even say?
I don't either.
I
just
said
know
something.
You said that at 11?
I did.
Yeah.
I was in the room.
Oh, no. It was, how many of y'all like genealogies? And
that's
they
what it was.
raised their hand. And I said, they got 6 or 7 of you.
Yeah.
And it was, 6, 7. It was one of Chatham's kids.
Look, I was about to say, because I thought it was our kids were like raising their hands about liking genealogies. I thought that's what you pointed out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because
No.
My son, I was gonna say, my son was like, "Dad, what's that word he was talking about all day? What's he talking about? What's Jason talking about?
Yeah.
What's that G word? Gynecology? No.
Nope, not that one.
Genealogy, son. Yeah. Your family tree. We don't talk.
I'm glad you didn't say that word before I preached, because that would have totally, it would have just
destroyed
had a
you.
moment where I'm just saying
Yep.
You would have been
gynecology
on
all
would have
day.
been in
That would have
Nate's last episode.
Yep.
What is something you wish you would not have said?
Yep.
You're just playing that clip. Boom, boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes. So love that. Loved the way you approached the text. And, even before Sunday, we were talking through, like, what do we do? And Jason, you just looked at me and you're like, what do I do? And I was like, I don't know, Jason. You're the man in the hot seat. Just tell me what I need to do to help you. So, but I think you did a great job at approaching that and leaning into that. So, Josh, what'd you think?
speaking of Winter Olympics, I looked at Diana and I'd actually texted another guy on staff when you mentioned all the people going back to their motherland. It was Ireland, Scotland, all white people countries.
Well, listen,
white people
I
countries.
do know my audience.
So texted Kellen like, all white people countries. I see. No, he didn't say Mexico for Nate. He didn't say anywhere like that. Didn't give brown people countries. That was just so funny. But
That's funny.
But you do think through like your I mean, the genealogy piece is like, I'm sitting there with my kids going like, yeah, there's probably people we're not including in those genealogies, right? What I was talking to somebody the other day though. I was talking to our kids. So our grandma, my grandma, which would be their great grandma, lived with her grandma. So great, she was a slave. Like she grew up as a slave. My grandma was raised by her. Like, so I was trying to just connect the dots. Like, we're not that far away in our history.
Yeah.
So, I was telling them those things, and that's part of our story. And I was talking to somebody else. I can't remember who it was. And I was like, yeah, man, part of my history, like, it just stops, right? Like the black side of the family, it does just stop. It doesn't go back any further because it's all just kind of messed up, right? Because of, slavery in our country. So there is some interesting pieces. And then my mom was adopted. So I actually have never looked at I have no clue what or who or like where we go back. I don't know any of those things. I know a few generations, they're all just a train wreck. So we generally don't talk about them.
Yeah.
And I don't have any connection to mine either. I don't.
Never. My aunt's gotten really big into the ancestry. She was adopted, and so she's been on that like journey, like figuring all that stuff out. But like anything she finds, it doesn't matter for me. Like
right.
Like we're like, I mean, she is for sure, right? Even though she's adopted, she's my aunt, but like there's no blood. There is no like family tree that we would chase through. So she tells me these things, and I'm always like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I've never had any huge piece, except just the stories you hear.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. But yeah.
And the other cool thing too is just even thinking through the trip that you guys took to Jerusalem and his whole 1,000 years, and just thinking through how many, like, in America, you're just so, like, we're all just transplanted,
Yep.
Everywhere. And, we don't think about like for me, like growing up, being raised in growing up in Phoenix, I don't want to go back. Right. I don't want to go back to Phoenix. And so like, I'm even thinking of like, oh, like Colorado's beautiful and like all these other states. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to like move there or like live there. And just thinking through like, man, that's nuts that you have, Europe and the Middle East where like generations of families,
Thousands.
live, you're still living on your property.
Yep.
And for us, we're just like, just even thinking about you, Josh, like Louisiana, Kentucky, Chandler, Arizona.
I got all places, bro.
Just like all these other places. And, how far is that story going to go for you? So it's just crazy, just thinking through like that is so important to our Jewish brothers and just even Europe and all those people. But for us, like to change our mindset of, no, this matters. And
I would say like where we grew up in the South, there is like family land,
family farms,
family land. Those things exist. It just ain't that old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of the stories behind how they were acquired or required, or, there's some sketchy stuff to them for sure. There's some pieces of property that've got some stories attached to them, but there is like, oh no, this is our family land. This is our family. But it is these generations a lot of times, who are selling those because it's like, we're not farmers, anymore. And so, you're not the house you want to live in the town. You don't want to live out of town. You want to live in town now. You don't want to deal with driving the 15 minutes to get into the grocery store. So there's no, there's less loyalty. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what that is. But the other thing that stood out to me just personally was when Jason was talking about Jesus was about 30 years old. So how old were you when you moved here?
31.
So when I started church planting, we finished our last day as a student pastor at 30. It was on my birthday. And then we moved away to go church plant. So it was about 30 years old. So again, I'm not trying to say I'm anything like David or the Messiah or the prophet, but I was just thinking.
Jesus.
I was just
doing ministry together.
Like Jason's the same way, right? Like around 30 years old, And
I've actually, but even before, because I hadn't made that connection of how many biblical examples there are of that.
Yeah.
I had just said this, I don't know, a couple of months ago to one of our young guys. And I'm thinking, hey, you want to go to be a lead pastor? I think having a 3, being 30, 31, 32, I think that's probably the time that you're got enough maturity and experience to step out and do the thing. We all know some young guys who went out and did some church planting and they did okay, but they probably caused as much harm as good when you're in your 20s and you're just, it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah.
So I do think there is something to it. And it did reinforce that for me.
I never even thought about it until you said those names. You're listing it off. And then again, I went, oh, I was like 30. Oh,
Yeah.
huh. Okay. And again, wasn't intentional. Like, cause I just realized it 12 years later that that's what we did. But it was for sure a thought in my head of like, oh, maybe, I guess that does make sense. Huh? Maybe not coincidence. But yeah, so that was the personal thing that I connected that other people probably did not connect because they've not gone and done that thing.
Yep. So awesome. And then Jason, if you would have had more time, is there any other names you would have added to the list?
I would have read the whole list out loud.
That would have ended terribly.
It would have ended terribly.
Or great.
There was a sigh of relief, I think, from everyone when I said I'm not going to read these names to you. Is there any that I would add? I mean, I think 2 that could have popped off would have been Noah and Moses. I think would probably, again, those are the other 2 big ones. And again, I think part of the fulfillment of Jesus, bringing those, the promises of the promised land into Moses and, the restart with Noah. I think you could have tied those two in a little bit, but the big ones were the big ones for a reason. And I think ultimately getting to Adam being the son of Adam and being the son of God were obviously the most important. So
Yeah.
I didn't feel a huge pull to add in any others, but obviously those would be two that everybody would know. And so
Who'd you say? I'm sorry.
Noah and Moses.
Oh yeah, Judah was in there. We talked about that in sermon planning.
Yeah.
Talked about
Jesus, the Lion of the tribe of Judah.
and just his story, what that means and the importance. Isaac, is mentioned in there as well. You could have talked about, him, Jacob, so there's for sure more names that pop out probably to the more regular church person, for sure. But yeah.
Well, now I'm looking in here. Just see here. Hang on.
Just that names. I think in Judah mentioned Levi, but it's not the Levi we think.
It's not the right Levi.
No, it's the Levi. We don't.
And I'm trying to see if Moses is in here.
No, Moses is not. Moses is what Corey talked about, and for the Preston campus, for the Hebrews, that Jesus is greater than Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it would have been.
Yeah, probably Noah and Judah would have been two. They could have been helpful. And Joshua. Because Jesus' name actually is
Yeshua.
Comes from Joshua.
Yeah.
It means God saves or Yahweh saves. So that could have been a cool tie-in.
Yeah, Methuselah's in this one, which again, if you've the old person Methuselah. So there's some interesting ones in here you could have thought about. Sweet.
Awesome. Sweet. Then let's jump into a few questions. And we're going to start with Ashley. She says, first off, thanks for pouring into us every Sunday. Worshiping with fellow believers and having the word preached to me is what I need to sustain me through the week. My question is about the genealogy. In Matthew, he states that David was the father of Solomon. Solomon was the father of Rehoboam.
Rehoboam.
Yeah.
And so on. But in Luke, Solomon is not the son of David used in the genealogy. It is Nathan. I guess I don't understand why there are two different sons of David used for Jesus' genealogy. Can you help me clarify my confusion?
I absolutely cannot.
Actually, this is the exact question Jason asked to our sermon planning team.
Yep.
I just want you to know the exact question. He goes, hey, who's David's son?
Yeah, this is before they had really read it. And
Yep.
so I'd already done a little and I'm like, okay, just help me out here, guys.
Who's David's son? And we're all like, who's the son who the throne goes through? Everyone's like, oh, Solomon. Just tossing it out there. He goes, and then who's Nathan? And I go, huh? The prophet? Right? Like that's what we all like the story of Nathan. Like the story is the prophet Nathan. Yeah. But that's not David's son that I know of.
Yeah.
He does have a son named Nathan.
He does have a son named Nathan, but it's But it's not.
And people think it is the same. I don't know that I couldn't find it. Maybe it's in there that the scholarly evidence says that it is a son of Bathsheba.
Interesting.
But to your point, he has nothing to do with the throne. He is not the line of the throne.
No.
Not at all. And so David had many other wives and concubines, lots of other sons and daughters. Like that's what Scripture teaches us about David. And so the question becomes why? And the answer is we don't know. This is when I stood up and I said, you can lay the one by Matthew and the one by Luke, and you can lay them beside each other. It's going to create more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And this would be one of them. This is a big one. It's like, wait, but we all know that the kingdom was the throne went down to Solomon. We all know this.
And then it split.
Yep.
So maybe, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
And this is one of the theories is that Luke runs it through Nathan to get it away from, to get the throne away from the cursed line of Solomon, because Solomon had the throne taken away from him.
Yeah.
And so that's one theory. But again, it's just a theory. Nobody knows. So we're just making stuff up.
So to preface all of this for everybody, is Jason has way more questions too. So, but he could send in to make himself answer because he threw them all to us. And it is at a certain point, there is something with this that's like, oh man. And so if you're trying to, and again, I think when we read the Bible, what we have to remember is it doesn't answer some of the questions we come with.
Yeah.
Like we come with this.
It's not coming with our Western mindset.
No. And so again, to your point, what you had to try to set up for us, I think, was that there's an agenda. So there's a reason why Solomon isn't mentioned.
Yeah.
There is an agenda. And we need to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And
we need to be okay with not knowing what that agenda is.
Yes.
That's the part that we struggle with because we think, again, we're part of the Enlightenment. We wanted to all make perfect sense and all of them ought to match and scientific method and one ought to lead to the other right down the line. That's just not what you find in ancient Eastern texts. Like that's not the point.
It's not how they tell history. Yeah. They didn't walk around like when we get to the stories of Jesus, as we're going to study for the next few months, years. Even like the difference of Luke's perspective and the difference of Matthew's and Mark's and John, all of those, because they weren't walking around with a video camera,
right,
collecting it all and then just retelling it, right? Yeah. There was purpose to why Luke writes his gospel. There's purpose why Matthew writes his and John writes his and Mark writes. And so and Luke gets all these eyewitnesses accounts and he's trying to piece together all of them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And if three of us told the same story of the same event, we're all going to tell a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so Luke's then trying to piece it all together through the inspiration of the Spirit of God. And we get what we see as the evidence for the life and story of Jesus. So I would just say for those questions, if others of you, I do appreciate that she even looked.
Yeah.
Right? Because most people just would have been like, oh, yeah. Because you get to this and you're right. You just kind of skip it.
Everybody.
You skip it.
I had a bunch of people on Sunday say, oh, 100%. I just skim that or I skip it altogether. I don't read these. Like that. What is the point? And just go on. I got these names. I can't say them anyway. I don't know them if I had them. None of the names stick out. Like I know their story. Like there's only a couple of them that you're really going to know the story and where it fits in the timeline of history.
Yeah, it's tough.
Again, for Luke, literally half of these names appear nowhere else in Scripture. There's 2 Levi's in this list, and neither one of them are the ones that we know.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are we doing? I don't know. It's, yeah.
Yeah. And again, we're also assuming that the other ones are the people that we do know, but they could have been. Again, there's Zerubbabel, but that's not the Zerubbabel that's in probably Daniel.
Yep.
Right? That's probably a different one. I don't think it's the same one. It could be. Maybe it is. I don't know.
No, it's too close.
That's what I'm saying.
It's too close to Jesus.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So you see
Zerubbabel would be back before David.
I know. You see a name and go, oh, nope, that's not him.
Not him.
So it's just, and there's no like, there is no so you do get to these and they are more, there can be more confusion again. So you got to come with a different, helping come to the text with a different angle is really not really helpful here.
Yeah. Maybe the challenge though is we start bringing these names back and naming our kids these.
We do have Bible names here that nobody wants to use.
Yeah.
And there are some great ones in this text.
So if you're having a kid soon,
right there, Luke
there
chapter 3.
Ram.
Eber.
Yep. Yeah. So, all right. Next question is from Amelia. And she says, first, the genealogy, since Jewish genealogy usually follows the father's line, and Joseph was Jesus' legal but not biological father, how do we understand Jesus' true human lineage? Is Luke actually tracing Mary's line, even though Joseph is named?
That is a very astute question. And it is actually one scholarly opinion that is floating around out there. That is a theory of why Luke's genealogy is so different than Matthew's. Is some will say that Matthew is tracing the lineage through Joseph because he's a good Jew, and that's why he's tracing it through. He's going to use the males. And there are some who would say, to try to harmonize these, to say Mary is the genealogy in Luke. And it would make sense if Mary was interviewed by Luke that he might move in that direction. We know that both of them come from David's family line. So if you go back far enough, they would be of the same. They were both of the family line of David. But there is a point where it would diverge. And so there are some, so very astute, that some would say that this is Mary's line. Now, again, I don't find it compelling. I did do some study and reading on that. I didn't find it compelling enough evidence to be able to, I don't think that's it. I don't think that harmonizes. I don't think it's clear enough that that's what's going on in this moment. But she's not the only one who's thought that. There are other scholars who've opined that option.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest, that's what I've always heard. I never dug in and did a lot of research. I've never taught through the book of Luke, but that was the most prevailing thing that I always heard was that this was Mary's.
Yeah.
And I actually had heard that it was because of Nathan is when he splits. So we go David to Nathan, and that's where Mary's line came out of. That's why Nathan's in there, not Solomon.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd heard. But again, I'd never done enough research that it was like, let me really study the genealogy here. Because again, I'm for the most part wasn't trying to come to the text to answer tell me Jesus's bloodline part. And so but it is interesting. So I have this. So the whole adopted father, but who's this? Piece I have a last name that's actually not my biological father. So my family line is really just messy.
Yeah,
right? And I really haven't. It's not that I don't share that with our boys. I haven't in depth tried to explain it to them because it is a lot to try to navigate and follow through.
Yep.
Right. And so, I have.
It's going to look like a route tree
if
you're going to try
it's a mess, man.
navigate that on a chalkboard with the boys.
They're going to I have the Garrett line, but that's not the line that I'm out of, right? But because I'm out of actually this line, my family were the Hales. And so I get the confusion of, but that's Joseph really wasn't his dad. It was a different, I'm like, I got you. You're like, you feel so hurt. I'm like, I feel so seen. I'm like, I got you, Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm with you, bro.
Yep.
So it was thought. That was my story. I'm like, I always you feel the other way as the dad.
As the dad.
I'm the son, everybody thought that was it. It's not. So what happened?
Yep.
Yeah, so mine is it's all convoluted. I'm just like, I don't even try, and then the boys, all they know is marriage, there's the normal, my husband and wife get married and have a kid. So they're like, so wait, grandma and granny and grandma were never married? I was like, no. They were like, huh? And I was like, it's fine. So all those pieces, it's just so hard to tell a 8-year-old this, So to try to write this thing down, I'd be like, nope.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure Jason, your boys is similar, right? They have a line that splits them, but if they're trace their family, it's not that, you know what I mean? It's not the crazy prices.
Right. Yeah. What's Eli going to do?
Yeah.
What's Eli going to do? I mean, he's going to trace. I don't know if they still do it. They used to do. Remember back when we were in third grade or whatever, you had to do the family tree. I don't know if you ever did that as a project, but you would try to go back 3 or 4 generations of your family tree. And I'm like, if Eli did that, it would go to a bunch of rednecks from Appalachia.
That's not.
Right.
And then how do you grade it? Do you say you're wrong, Eli? Do you tell a third grader you're wrong?
And he's from part of the world that would probably have longer generations.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
He could
bloodline matters in his culture.
Yeah. Way more than it does.
Oh yeah. We have scallywags and we just own it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were executed. They just burned them out.
Yeah.
Who is that? We don't talk about it. Yeah. But and even the culture is just older. Yeah. So his culture even is so much older than our culture. He would actually have such a richer, fuller background that he could find probably than our again, it always is can you tie for Americans, can you tie back to Plymouth?
Yeah.
To Plymouth Rock and that's where so many is I could, or Ellis Island.
Yeah.
I had family who came through Ellis Island or something like that. That's a big part for most of our country's history. they've been around for like 2,000 years before all that.
Yep.
It's just crazy.
I do think there is something that we need to, and it kind of came out in a couple of these questions that I think it's worth saying out loud. That, again, because of our Western mindset, we want to divorce the legal, legitimate family tree from the biological, right?
Yeah.
And so as if it's inaccurate to say that Eli's from my tree.
Right.
If we want to do that, then we are actually ignoring the salvific message of the gospel, because the story is we were adopted as sons and daughters of God, that through the gospel we have been given the right to become children of God. And if we want to divorce or somehow delegitimize the fact that being adopted into a family line is somehow lesser than, then we're downplaying the actual way that God chooses to save his children.
Yeah.
Like we get adopted into this line, and I wasn't born into it. You weren't born into it. We were all born as sons of Adam. We become sons of God. Like this is what happens. And so I just, even in our Western thinking, I just want to make sure just to say that out loud.
Yeah.
We don't want to in any way delegitimize that being adopted in makes you less of that family tree. It didn't make it less for Joseph and Jesus. It didn't make it less for Eli and Jason. It doesn't make it less for Jason and God.
Right, for sure. Yeah, it's good. It's a good reminder. Right.
Yeah.
Again, you just can't help it. It's just so natural, right? Like bloodlines, right? And again, we used to have difficulty. I would bet they had more difficulty. To your point, the bloodline piece.
Yeah.
For them, but you do see the heart of God even in the Old Testament as foreigners are brought in, like Rahab, all the people are brought into the people of God, the Israelites, like how even though there's rules set aside for the foreigners, and how God, you can see just in the beginning, even his heart towards all people.
There are one of the interesting markers of, if you lay the two genealogies, Matthew and Luke, beside each other, one of the interesting pieces is that Matthew actually includes 4 women.
Which is weird, because Luke is
the person who includes women. Luke doesn't include any. Matthew includes 4. All of them are Gentile. There are 4 Gentile women listed in Jesus' genealogy. And so again,
Bathsheba, Rahab, Tamar.
And who's the 4th one? Yes, those are the 3 prominent that jumped off of me, but there is a 4th one as well. Is it Ruth? Is Ruth thrown in there too?
Yeah, because of Boaz. Ruth? No, I didn't say Ruth.
Yes. Nope. Sam and father Boaz, whose mother was, Ruth. Rahab, Ruth, Tamar.
Technically, Bathsheba's not mentioned.
Well, you're right.
Uriah's wife.
Uriah's wife.
Yeah.
Yes, but she's alluded to.
We got it. We know who we're talking about. I read the history book. I got you. Even Matthew was like, this is scandalous. We can't write that down.
They're all scandalous.
Oh, yeah.
Rahab's a prostitute, right?
Tamar fools her father-in-law.
She acts as a prostitute and hoodwinks her father-in-law because the sons-in-law wouldn't do the thing that they were supposed to. It's a story.
It is a story.
It never made the flannel graph. That story is not in your Sunday school curriculum,
but would make a good soap opera.
It would make something.
Yeah.
Well, just even again though, but even that, Matthews is always the one I normally heard taught. That is the hope of what Jesus is for. Yeah. And even more so for Luke, which was like such a great point, is what he's already said multiple times, that Jesus is his son. And then it's like, we just hear it from the Father, and Luke goes, let me give you the proof.
Yep.
As any good historian, because if you're reading without the context that we have, it is the Son of God. What?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. So Luke goes, let me show you how this is actually historically true.
Yep.
Boom, boom. And draws us back. And so it's just so great that that through the Holy Spirit, that's what we get. We get to see, this genealogy that reinforces this voice from heaven, which we talked about too, that this is Jesus's identity he works out of. I am God's son. I am the son of God. So just a really cool thing. Great that we got to point it out, because I don't think I've ever heard a sermon preached out of this genealogy.
Yeah.
No, it's always Matthew. And you do it at Christmas because you're looking for anything new to say at Christmas. And so you go to the Matthew's genealogy. It's true.
Somebody tell me yesterday they went, I went to a church and visited, and they read the genealogy for Christmas. And they were like, just give me the Christmas story. They're like, I just was like, I'm leaving. Because they say all these names, and you're like, nah, I'm out. See ya. You know.
I've done it. I've preached the genealogy, Matthew's genealogy at Christmas at some point in my 17 and a half years. That has been done right here at Quad City.
Oh, love it.
So good. And then last question. This one's going to be a little curveball, so get ready. It's from Eric. He says, great background on the genealogy laid out in Luke. After hearing Sunday's message, I was inspired to reread the book of Ruth in the Old Testament. The story of Ruth, along with your background given about land rights and Jesus' title as Son of Man, gives me a deeper understanding of the love of Jesus, his role as kingsman, redeemer, and my salvation. What would have happened to the rights of Naomi's land if Boaz didn't marry Ruth?
I have no idea. This feels like a hypothetical that I can't answer. And so just to be 100% transparent, it's been a minute since I've read Ruth. And so I don't know that I even have the historical timeline in my head to be able to answer this with any kind of authority or accuracy.
Yeah. So so if you lost your land, which could happen, or they could sell. It's actually interesting that this question comes up because in a couple of weeks, the text is Jesus' proclamation of the year of the
Jubilee,
the year of the Lord's favor, which is the year of Jubilee. Every 50 years, your land would go back to your family. And so land, people, would go back, right? So the belief would be if we ran it long enough, Naomi's land would eventually go back. Would go back to her property. It would be her family's piece of property would be returned. To Jason's point is it's not even just like they broke up by tribes, what part of the tribe got in the tribe,
clan family.
Your plot of land would always be with your family, even if you had to sell it. So Nate, whatever happened, even what's crazy, even if you sold, this is the wildest part because I was reading up on it. Even if you were a Jewish person who sold to a foreigner, the foreigner would return it. They would even be brought in.
Part of the contract.
Is part of the covenant, right? The covenant of God that he lays out that this was to be the thing. And so I guess just the quick answer in my mind would be if Boaz doesn't redeem, because there's these kinsman redeemer in there, part of your family can buy that property for you, like within 7 years, or if it's gone a certain amount of time, they can pay. Like, so say I go to redeem you, Nate, from Jason. And
make the white guy the bad guy.
Sorry. So
Jason's buying the brown people.
I redeemed Jason from Nate. From Nate. They were all brown in the Old Testament. They're all brown. Okay. I redeemed Jason. But anyways, but I would have to count up how many years you won. It was like you had to count up how many years of service that I was taking away until we get to the year of Jubilee. So I would redeem and pay for you. Literally, I would pay the price. That's why Jesus is that idea of the kinsman redeemer. He pays the price that we couldn't pay, right, for our salvation, right? It's way bigger than just a piece of property or land. But so that is the piece. With just the quick thinking of it would be that eventually, if there is no Boaz, that Naomi's family gets their land. That's how God set up the rules. So
the crazy thing is we don't actually ever have any historical evidence that the Israelites ever practiced the year of Jubilee. Like that's the crazy part is God did set this thing into motion, and we don't have, how many thousands of years of history do we have in the Old Testament? We got a couple thousand years. And
it's Leviticus 25.
And so we just never see it. We never see the reset moment in our Bibles anywhere. And so by the time you get to the first century, you got Joseph living in Nazareth, and he has to go back to his ancestral land. He's not living in his ancestral town.
But his family is.
Maybe,
yeah. Believed. Probably.
Potential? Yeah.
It is, just, again, this foreshadow, this picture. So, again, the forest runner is, Jesus says, this is it, right?
Yeah.
That I've come to proclaim this year of Jubilee, right? And so,
and it's the canceling of all debts as
yes.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so Jesus, again, came to cancel our debts.
Right. Again, so it's just a beautiful picture of that we see in the Old Testament, these point aheads, these four signposts is what I call them, and then Jesus fulfills it. The same way of David.
Yeah.
The same thing we learned about with David. The same thing we learned about the offspring of Abraham.
Yep.
The same thing that we learn about any other picture that Jesus fulfills all of what was talked about and seen, and the men got close, but they just couldn't fulfill it all.
Yeah.
But Jesus does.
Yep.
Sweet. Awesome. I think that's a good spot to land. Hope you guys have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon.